Your threshold guardian might also be your mentor. We've got trapped, stuck, no options, unforgiveness, and exhausted and jock blocking in reverse. On the exhausted, it's kind of an interesting card, either upright or reverse, the way that the guy is sitting. But there's some luggage on here, and it says burned out, burdened, and empty. And the green suitcase is a little bit ajar. But following up the previous reading, coming from the mentor stage with Sagittarius, now we're getting into the crossing the threshold with the Scorpio archetype. I thought that was pretty fitting for that sign, you know, being the very underworldy sign. But this is the crossing the Rubicon. You know, once you go through it, you can't go back. The proverbial bridge that collapses once you get to the other side. I think in an anti-heroes context, though, it's kind of an interesting approach to think about the mentor taking on that secondary role of actually being a betrayer and maybe trying to keep you trapped in some fashion. And I get kind of a kick out of this card because up top you can see her hands. She's holding like a washing machine door, like one of the high efficiency ones, the front loaders. And it just, like, the expression, it's like, I'm trapped hotly. Like, she has put herself in this situation and can get herself out. So maybe that's something going on with the mentor that I don't know if they're playing the victim. We'll have to dig into that a little further, but I also wanted to get some charms, and when I was stirring, not shaking, my charms, because it's not really shuffling, this got stuck to my finger, and it got stuck to my middle finger, which is the biggest ring I'm wearing. And this is my Morrigan ring, the raven. It looks like a raven. I don't remember, though, if it was technically a raven or a crow, either way. But it getting stuck on my middle finger, the Saturn finger also, which I got on the dice roll, along with 6th house and Leo, it's just giving me protect yourself from a contract with this person. And it doesn't necessarily have to be romance. I think the fact that it was a heart that got stuck to my finger is a little plain. So maybe, I mean, this could be, because I think we were talking about a work context in the last reading. Could be sexual harassment. Trying to exert power to get an outcome that they want and you don't. So let's get some more terms and see WTF is going on. But the Morrigan, being my patron or patroness, however you want to say that, that landing on my middle finger, that's a very clear message to me that it's like, no, do not pass go, do not collect $200. No. Very direct message. What do we got for letters? P, L, T. It's making me think of BLT. And technically, here's an O. I like a bloat, because I also like avocado and onions on mine. And then I usually nix the mayo. I've got C, U, Pluto. Spells it out. Some more Scorpio. Emphasis. Oh, E. Where does I say that? Emphasis. Q. I. Another I. Oh, that's the first one. There's another one in the bag here, though. So Pluto, Q, N, N, but 2 I's instead of 2 N's. Something a little bit off. Go, G-O, Ingo. Inigo Montoya. Prepare to die. S-E-T, set. Chaos energy. Another I. I think we've seen that consistently. Like 3 repeating, but now we've got a 4th I. Another L. LLC. Something about a business. S. ISS. International Space Station. R. Another I, so 5 I's. And another G. Okay. Rig. Ill. Sell. Oil rig? I feel like I'm getting a lot more words than usual. Cis, like C-I-S. And also S-I-S. Lunge. What do we have for more charms? We've got the heart. Unicorn. To me, that is a ancestry charm. Scotland. It's the national animal. Pickup truck with some gourds, looks like, in the back. So, abundance. Harvest. Got a tennis racket and a difficult to discern tennis balls. Tennis balls came up as an example too in the last reading, but it's just making me think of all the terminology that comes with tennis, like jargon. Turkey. This is a colonizer charm for me because it's like a Thanksgiving turkey, and the way that that holiday has been propagandized here in the States. Another gourd. Some more abundance. 2 dolphins. Twinning. Maybe more of that mirror. Yeah. It's the same gourd charm. So 2 gourds, 2 dolphins, mirroring. It's been a fairly consistent theme. Couple of leaves, and these have like an opal sort of finish. Reddish orange and like a slate gray. And then a green glittery sort of leaf. And it looks like a pumpkin cupcake. Could also be a pumpkin muffin. Something about perception. There's also glasses in here. So glasses, seeing, more leaves, green leaves, like fern, the love fern. I like that movie. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And that was a lot of manipulation of perception too, because she was trying to secure an outcome. And she was also very much not in the right environment for her, like for her intellect. Is that a gold leaf? And I don't know if this is supposed to be the Lord's lettuce. It seems like it might have the right number of leaves. And then a hand charm, but it looks like it's kind of broken. It's like a broken Star of David. Maybe rough conditions in that little charm bag. But I can't remember, what is the other hand, that hand symbol called? I see it a lot. The Hamsa? Something like that? It's usually blue, and it has an eye in the middle as opposed to a Star of David. Something slightly off. Could also be like a broken vow. Because that mirroring could be like to manipulate that it's, I don't know, a connection worth pursuing or something. But whatever it is, the idea is that it would serve as a threshold guardian to try and stop you from progressing to the next phase. It's tests and allies and enemies, which is a pretty long phase, generally speaking. It's going to be one of the longer ones. And then crossing the threshold, going to be shorter, because, you know, if it's a bridge that people are walking across and then it just collapses, that's a fairly short amount of time. But if you have your mentor kind of anchoring you back there at stage 4 while you're trying to get to 5 and 6, can like drag all of that out. So let's see the intention behind Trapped. What's that about? Get these a little closer together. What about Trapped? Oh. Check in. I want to catch up. Make sure you're doing well and see where we stand. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. This is maybe someone from your past that it's like ulterior motives. Maybe an ex trying to pull on heartstrings. So what about exhausted? Maybe trying to catch you at a bad moment. When your guard's down, when it would be easier to regress into old habits. Not only for you to regress into old habits, but I don't know if they've been learning jargon about something that you're interested in. So it'd be like a twofold process. Your defenses are down, and maybe your heart is warming up to this person, you know, a person from the past, still care about them. And then there's that added layer of the mirroring. Like trying to create this facade that real change has occurred. But they're a threshold guardian. It's like trying to keep you back. Let's try the other one. The other half. And a couple mega decks out. Closure? Yep. No. It's time to resolve unfinished business and move forward in our lives. Closure is a myth. I mean, it's your life. Make your own decisions. It's just my personal opinion that any talk of closure, that just one more hangout, whatever the narrative is, it's to keep you anchored in the past. Could just be selfishly because they're not moving on and still trying to reel you back in. Could be manipulative, trying to keep you away from your progress. What about jock blocking? Because that, I mean, if you're involved with someone, then that could stop opportunities with other people for sure. Could also be business opportunities, even friendships. Playing safe. You've been taking the easy path, and your laziness will not pay off. Judgy. Start taking bold actions and challenge yourself to be bigger and better. But it came out reversed. This is like someone being critical, poking at, I don't know, anything you're doing. Because if somebody wants to manipulate you, getting your feathers ruffled is an effective way to do that. And Saturn, the emphasis on Saturn, Saturnian concerns, could be using that harsh energy to try and, I don't know, incite an argument. Because there's a short distance between bloodlust and lust. So start arguing, get the blood boiling, but then try to get a different outcome. So what about this whole just one more time, just one more visit, just one more whatever? Maybe this is something coming down the way, because I read to the left and then over to the right, so face down here, something coming. 10 of Swords in reverse, 2 of Pentacles, and this looks like the King of Cups in reverse. Well, this isn't great. Really intrigued by that 2 of Pentacles in the middle. But I'm noticing on the 10 of Swords, the composition of these cards is very similar. The way that they're laying. So it's like trying to drag that anchor forward. Trying to keep you trapped in the past. And I don't know. Just given the heaviness of anti-heroes' journeys, this could be somebody trying to lock it down in some way. I don't know if that's baby trapping, love bombing, trying to like put a ring on it way too fast. Maybe that's what that metaphor is. Like there's a ring already there. You're in a commitment to yourself. Maybe you're with somebody else, and this is like an ex trying to get in between you and an existing relationship. But it's like that bandwidth in my life isn't available for this person. The whole closure thing, and then it's like them trying to come to the table with an olive branch, but then when you don't accept it, then the mask falls. You see the anger. That's the King of Cups in reverse. And then this card, the Two of Pentacles, just that, again, composition, photography is coming to mind. Because I talked a lot about that trapped picture. But Hecate is what this image always reminds me of. And they're looking down with the crows in their hands. We're looking outward. It's like using High Priestess sight. Sensing, feeling, not seeing with your eyes. Maybe there's something about this situation, this anti-hero's journey, that's about like waking up your second sight. Because the unicorn charm, it's making me think of the witch trials and how that played out so differently in the Highlands versus the Lowlands. Because the Highlands had the fairy faith. You know, you accuse a woman of being a witch and like she has second sight, she's talking to fairies, leave her alone. Like, stop bothering this woman, she has those things to do that we don't understand, just leave her be. But in the Lowlands, that area was going through like a multitude of factors, because there were the damages to the crops following the little ice age, and then the Protestant Reformation with King James, like the King James Bible. That area is where all the witch trials, like thousands, it really eclipses what happened in Salem here in the States. Just the grand scale. And you'd never know it from the memorials, because in Salem it's like dripping in history of the Salem witch trials. It's Salem Witch Town. It's a whole thing. It's a whole theme. In Scotland, I think there's one plaque in Edinburgh. I think that's right. I don't remember exactly where, but that's it, to memorialize thousands of witch trials. And that was a big reason for the commemorative tartan coming out a few years back, the red and black one. So it's, something's disjointed, something doesn't match, and it has significant implications, because I think people are really surprised, at least here in the States, to hear about the scale of the witch trials in Scotland. Because the Salem witch trials, they were so concentrated just in that one small place, but it's such a focus, and we don't even get the full story. It doesn't get presented really as a land grab. I didn't learn that until I was an adult. So what's off? It's like Bizarro World. Clingy? Old exes? Dead relationship? Old ways? So old ways. And in the context of the mentor, maybe they have old ways of thinking? Maybe it's an old job, something like that. Maybe it's a job you've checked out of. Could be an ex. I don't know. Is an ex trying to hire you? It's weird. It's a weird arrangement. That's like being trapped. Like you can't get away from this person. Into you. Good chemistry, great vibes, pure intentions. I'm taking that one. And then I'll take that. Big pile after that. It's like impersonator, fake accounts, love triangle. There's a lot. Drama, drama, drama. There we go. And then we have hustling in reverse. They trying to cling on to you for money. Making it rain. Focused on the bag. Money is the mission. Maybe they're not doing so well in the financial department. Could be. So what about this clingy? All that background on the witch trials, just giving me like not wanting you to learn something, not wanting you to learn the full breadth of something, because that, maybe that's the canon event that gives you the motivation to cross the threshold and finally get away from this person. Date. I like you and would love to get together to learn more about you. Now that sounds newer. Maybe it's been a long duration of time since you've seen this person. And time is not an apology. It never ceases to amaze me, derogatory, how people will let time pass and just try to come back as if nothing has happened. As if you would forget what you were put through. Because those copycat and impersonator, I don't know. Trying to mess with your opportunities, potentially, and then, like, trying to act like it's not a big deal. Trying to steal your work to get money off of it, and that's not going well. That could be a motivation behind this. There's humiliation. So trying to steal your work, and then it failed. Like a land grab that failed. Humiliation. The fear of being judged is holding you back. Criticism will always come, so choose that which brightens your soul, no matter the judgments. And then energy drain. This opportunity will deplete you. Reevaluate your involvement and seek opportunities that rejuvenate and inspire you. And they were both in reverse. This is giving me... I experienced this a lot growing up. Something exciting would happen, or I'd get excited about an opportunity, and the first feedback that I would receive would be like, well, don't get your hopes up. That's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be really hard. Yeah, I know. I'm going to need the support to get over the threshold, because big things require big effort, you know? And maybe somebody is trying to convince you that, I don't know, if you go your own way on your anti-hero's journey, break away from the mainstream, do your own thing, you'll be humiliated, it'll drain your energy, when meanwhile, maybe that's what you're trying to get away from. As if the 9 to 5 grind isn't a humiliation ritual every single day. Uh, Silliness. Silliness. So what about this opportunity? I want to know more about that. I feel like a lot of that is more of a nuisance. It's like, you know that you're either not interested in this person anymore or at all, whatever the context may be, especially if it's like a power dynamic. And that, like, being put in that uncomfortable position, I just got like a full storyline, I guess, but trying to hire an ex, like, extend the olive branch, let me help you out. Meanwhile, I don't know, they call your job and do something to either get you fired, interfere with opportunities in some way, or you were just looking for something new and being helpful, quote unquote, but then they have some sort of pull there, some sort of position of power, and then are trying to use that to secure a date or something, like guilt trip you into, well, you wouldn't have this job without me. Did you interview for me? Was that you or was that me in that chair? Yeah, get over it. Knight of Swords. That was me in that chair. A referral's one thing. I'm the one that actually had to do the work. So maybe the Knight of Swords, that's you raising your sword and I get to make my own choices without unsolicited feedback. Like, if I want to hear from you, I'll ask. It's so out of line for somebody, especially if the nature of your relationship has changed. If it's like an ex and you're co-parenting, something of that sort, and they're still trying to assert themselves into like being a decision maker in your life. No, we have the co-parenting arrangement, and that's it. And the boundaries will try to be pushed inevitably of feigned concern. I mean, if they're manipulative, if you have a healthy co-parenting relationship, I don't think this applies to you. But if they're manipulative, then it'll be things like, oh, well, I'm just worried about this new person that you're seeing. Worried why? You don't even know them. Like, you haven't even met this person. Right as that clock chimes. And degrading, infantilizing, as if you couldn't determine there was a risk. My goodness. Think about the experience this person gave you in assessing people. We've got the Fool and the Knight of Wands. Oh. Interesting. It's kind of giving me a similar vibe. Like trying to decide which knight to give your wreath to, the token of favor. The Fool, the new opportunity, something new. And the Knight of Wands, that could be a creative pursuit, the creative flame. Passion. It's kind of like having two envelopes. I don't know. And both make me feel like going your own way. Like I don't know, the pen is mightier than the sword. It'd be some sort of scathing final message of boundaries of, look, we've gone over this many times. Now it's time for the Knight of Swords, because you're not listening. And really asserting your boundaries so that you can move forward into your new opportunity, maybe towards a creative opportunity. So, what is the opportunity? Can we know more about that? Because it feels like there's this push-pull. Because there's the anti-hero trying to get to the next stage. And then there's the mentor pulling backwards. And it... just the audacity. It's like, why do you think you get a vote? Longing? Missing you, let's talk, reunion. It's a tug of war. How do we break this freaking tug of war? It's this loop with this person. How do we break this tug of war? Because those I miss you texts, those can be so manipulative. I only want to hear that you miss me if we're together. Like, that's boundaries. And it would be super weird for an employer to be like, I miss you. Well, should have paid me better. Should actually listen to the concerns that I raised when I raised them rather than ignoring me. And this landed right on King of Cups in reverse. Love on the brain, also in reverse. Lost in fantasy, can't stop thinking of them, love that never left. So they miss you, you don't miss them. Boundaries. Because this person, the impression I have is that they don't have boundaries. And boundaries aren't for you to control another person's behavior. It's for you to say what you are and aren't willing to accept in your life. This is the line where you end and I begin. Separation. So what else about this tug of war? Because that's kind of just confirmation for me that the tug of war is happening. Like, I know. What do we do about it? Because it's irritating. Like, how long is this going to go on? And Saturn is a slow-moving planet. I think it's going to be in retrograde until January. So there may yet be more time for Saturnian concerns to surface. So what about this tug of war? Wolf in sheep's clothing, but it's in reverse. And that is a husky. Another perception mismatch. So maybe you know that they either are a wolf in sheep's clothing or they think they are. Something of that nature. So what? And that has to do with the tug of war? Kind of giving me choose your battles. Because it's a bit of a rock in a hard place over lava kind of situation when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't have boundaries. Potentially there's a power dynamic involved, and you're trying to break away from them. So something about knowing their true nature that helps move this forward. And it could be understanding behavioral patterns about like covert narcissism, manipulation. And I'm seeing a lot of that discourse come into the public eye, I guess, regarding the Lindsay Clancy trial. Saw an interesting reel. Somebody pointed out that, like, you know, if she hadn't made it out, this probably would have been an open and shut. She did it. It's miraculous that she's able to be tormented by the prosecutor, but for this to be exposed. She's been through so much. I don't want to downplay that experience by using the word miraculous, but it is a miracle that she's alive, that she survived this and is talking about it. And that she got that shark, that bulldog of a lawyer that called them out. Like, this is not The Handmaid's Tale. We are not taping her mouth. And we got leverage. I want you to open up and trust me so I can use your secrets against you. So maybe this whole closure thing is to try and secure leverage of some sort. And the most effective tool against manipulation is distance. If you can exclusively or almost exclusively communicate in writing, it's kind of hard to get leverage over you, and it's a pain in the butt to have to, I don't know, dance around this person to that degree. And it's not like they give you a choice. We've got necessary ending and perspective. A situation needs to dissolve to make space for new opportunities to arise. Embrace endings as a necessary part of your evolution. And perspective. Focusing on small details is causing you to miss the broader context. Step back and consider how it will fit into the overall narrative of your life. It's kind of giving me the perception, but it could be recognizing that whether it's getting closure or a date or longing, I miss you, what have you, the motive, the undercurrent under that is to keep you in a cycle, is to keep you anchored to the past by any means necessary. And so there's a necessary ending. I keep preaching the benefits of UBI because a necessary ending might be moving right as at clock times. I know I've been in situations where I didn't feel safe until I was in a new place. It's like a low grade hypervigilance, and it can definitely go up to a higher grade for sure, but it's like being forced into starting over because you need it for your wellness. It's kind of the rub with PTSD is, how do I avoid the environment I got harmed in if it's where I live? You know? So what What about this macro picture? Getting out of this tug of war. And depending on what's going on, I feel like moving, that actually can lift your spirits. I like looking at apartments online. Things I can't afford in cities I also cannot afford, but I like to visit. And they're astounding to me, the cost versus size of things. Like, how am I supposed to get my oversized studio of my dreams? How did people in sitcoms afford these? But we have the Lovers in reverse, the Magician in reverse. Stay away from this person. And the Tower. What a hand to draw. This is, the Lovers card is also a card of choice. It's like you're being presented with a choice you know you don't want to make. And you might even be irritated that it's being presented to you, because it's just, again, an attempt at manipulation to keep you from crossing the threshold. And there might be a significant increase in intensity in trying to keep you in place, because once you cross the threshold, you don't go back. That's not how the hero's journey works. So the Tower, are they trying to bring a tower to you? Or do you need to bring a tower to this for a necessary ending? I think that may be a good approach to consider. Because the Lovers in reverse and the Magician in reverse, this is the Peter Baelish. It doesn't get more manipulative than a Magician in reverse, because they have the acuity of all four suits. They can use whatever tool they need to concoct some, I don't know, feigned emergency or something or other. Like, how is it your emergency that they have a pimple on their forehead that might be infected? If you're that worried about it, go to urgent care. And if you're that worried about it, and I'm not a doctor, put Sharpie around the red area, and if it gets bigger, go to the doctor. That's a good way to measure if it's getting better or is it getting worse. So, tell me about the Tower, because this, of the many Tower cards I have at my disposal, it's pretty tame, all things considered. Haunting, yes. A little liminal, too. I'm noticing 2 crows that are white and 1 that's black. So one person, 1 crow, going their own way, like the black sheep. So tell me about the Tower, because maybe this is the Rubicon. This is what's pushing our anti-hero across the bridge. Blocked? Maybe that's the necessary ending. Maybe they weren't blocked because you had something, I don't know, of the past ongoing with them, whether it's like a custody battle, something legal. And then we also have established, settled, secure, and wealthy. And the little key fob says Ferrari. It's a nice car. Supercar. And I'm still in that, like, I have to be seizure free for 3 months before I can drive. And I don't think I would want to be driving super fast like these guys, but I still like cars. Like I would like to go to like car shows and like races and stuff like that. I think races are pretty expensive because I've definitely never been to one. Um, but something maybe re-engaging once you have your space, once you've blocked this person out of your life and moved on to future stages of the anti-hero's journey, then you get to revisit some things maybe you had to put down. Because when you are confronted with a particularly manipulative person, everything you do is wrong. If you like cars, it's going to be something like you're too masculine if you're a woman. I'll call you, I don't know, like a gearhead, something of that sort, just something to pick at it. Meanwhile, they also like cars. Like, why aren't we bonding over this? Or playing like racing games or something. It can be the simplest things. Even like eating is wrong if they're manipulative enough. So what about this blocked and established? And could also be peace of mind. You know, I mentioned moving. Psychopath. Maybe this person is like a lunatic, like lunacy. Abusive, conniving, and unpredictable. But it's in reverse. And he's doing like clown makeup, sad clown makeup. Kind of Joker-esque. So I think this is, you know their nature. You know how they are. And that's why you're blocking them, so you can get established in a new life. Zoom away. I know there are, and this might vary state to state, because I don't think this is a federal program, but there are ways to protect your address, like within the court system, for if you've been subject to domestic violence. There's all sorts of process, but it's another thing. Like, I feel like the difficulty of that process as compared to the rate at which the event occurs, it's a deterrent. Like, it shows that the system that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for our money, because it wouldn't have any budget to function from if it wasn't for our taxes, it's not there to help us. It's there to help the abuser, because that's who it was developed and built by and implemented by. And I think we're seeing a lot of that play out in the Clancy trial. Oh man, I hope she is a changing of the tide, in that she is done right in a way a wronged woman has never been done right before. The torment she's being put through right now is absurd. Like, where is a single competent expert witness, like psychologist, on complex PTSD? It's such a disservice that that's not in our diagnostic manual, because I think, like my tinfoil hat moment, the amount of people that would realize the conditions that we are forced to endure that result in complex PTSD are commonplace. They're very, very common. They're happening to a lot of people, namely the bottom of the pyramid. Everyone holding everything up, I'd be willing to bet, has an abnormally high rate of complex PTSD in that cohort? Demographic split? I don't know. But I think people really misunderstand, especially the avoidance piece of things, how many lengths one has to go to be able to exhale after you've been through complex trauma. And I am so peeved about how much money the system gets from us and how it fails to support us. Her lawyer, the way that he steps up, he shouldn't be an exception. He should be the expectation. Love. Yeah. As somebody who has a love of justice, of what's right, of women, and us finally being done right. Like, why so rare? If there's so many good guys out there, like, where are you? Raise your hand. We don't know where you are. It says, I will be a positive force in your life, and I only want to bring you peace and happiness. We all need our bulldog. Because I bet every woman you know is holding in more than she's talked about. And it's because of the way things are set up here. And how we have to just march on regardless. Not nearly enough support. And so if you can, GTFO, get on to your Ferrari life and treat yourself. My goodness, the perspective, wherever that was, there it is. When a trauma survivor, and it could definitely go a lot of ways, but I feel like a complex trauma survivor in particular, they finally get access to money, to resources, because that's very likely a component of what they've been put through, is some sort of financial aspect. It will be shocking what they think luxury is. That bar is so low, like, you might have to push them into spending money. There's also the flip side of that, of getting triggered and, oh my God, I can suddenly buy my needs that I never was able to cover before, and then overspending happens. Can definitely go a lot of ways, and people will judge that overspending from the outside without taking a moment to try and understand where that behavior is coming from. And we've got big favor in reverse. I'm looking for significant assistance and a large effort on your part. Nope. Request denied. And that could be another manipulative tactic. You know, you come into a windfall and anybody from your past, your neighbor, their cat, whatever, comes over to try and fill their hand, and you decline, and suddenly you're selfish. You've changed, the money changed you, whatever. This is like the first time you've ever had an oxygen mask to put on. Meanwhile, everybody else had their oxygen mask on, and they were sitting stationary in place while you tended to everything because you didn't have a mask on, so you weren't anchored to anything, so you were the one running around. Bite me. Be mad about it. Call me selfish. Whatever. I'll be at the racetrack. Or somewhere. Or just in blissful silence. And people can be so, I don't know, what's the word? Like grubby? I don't know. I've had people try to guilt me into buying them things, like wants, and just the language that they would use would be very derogatory. That's not quite the right word, but they were trying to get a handout from me that I wasn't offering, and then calling me selfish for it. Like, okay, I guess I'm selfish that I'm not buying you clothes that I can't afford for myself. What's wrong with the thrift store? All sorts of little gems in there. They're dirt cheap. Oh, maybe they chase status. You know, we have the Ferrari there. Social standing is very important to me. I'm only interested when you're elevating my image and past. The weight of what happened between us still lingers. I'm not yet over our past. Is this somebody that wants to keep you anchored to the past because God forbid you do better than them? Is that the motive? Maybe that's the projection, you know, them calling you selfish for taking care of yourself. Like, how about you go take care of yourself? Why don't you try it? What? Come on. And getting into a back and forth with them of, well, what about when I was sick and you were playing video games and you couldn't even be bothered to take out the trash? And I say that as a gamer, like, I'm not knocking that. It's the, like, can you get off your behind and take the freaking trash out? Like, do it before you start the game. And then be unbothered and game all night if you want to. But it's somebody that you can't get sick without still managing the household from your sick bed. Like, are they not an adult themselves? Can they not use their critical thinking skills and maybe, I don't know, if you don't know how to do something, get on YouTube or WikiHow? Let the woman sleep, for goodness sake. But it's something like that. But status, maybe trying to pull on the heartstrings, bring something up. That's that, like, covert narcissism. They could bring something up from the past to try and, well, I helped you with this. Wasn't that a gift? I thought that was a gift, not a favor. Like, not a I owe you in the future. But when you're dealing with covert narcissism, it's always leverage. Wherever that went. So what about, what's this big favor? I'm curious about that I presume you'll be denying. So what about this big favor? Or this would be someone who, I don't know, say they need help with something like clothes, and you offer to take them to the thrift store, and they get all huffy about you're not taking them to, like, a department store. Like, for what reason? If it's an interview, okay, maybe, but I've gone to the thrift store before an interview and I got the job. It's about what you can find, and if you're willing to offer to drive them around, like, check out multiple thrift stores, because maybe the first one's a dud and it doesn't have exactly what they're looking for, but then they're demanding the brand name stuff. I have to show up in the most expensive thing because this job, it's about perception and status, and, like, look, what I can do is a thrift store. If that doesn't work for you, best of luck finding somebody else to help you. We've got 10 of Wands. Very burdensome energy. Just nothing is ever good enough. Nothing is ever good enough, but they won't let you go. Trying to keep you anchored to the past, but it's this back and forth pull. I was just looking back at the Tower. Maybe you blocking them, you getting established is some sort of tower? Nine of Cups. The Wish card, and a very ominous card. The silhouette. And these cups in the background, like, it's reminding me of like an old school fence, like a wrought iron fence. They had the fancy tops to them, where they would normally be spikes. They were ornate in some way. Maybe this Nine of Cups, the wish was for a tower. Maybe for you, but they're getting it because you have newfound Knight of Swords energy that you may not have had before. And this is, that plopped right out. All those did. I'm taking all that. But the 8th house, Scorpio, this archetype has a lot to do with transformation. And we have another knight, the Knight of Pentacles, and in reverse. So something's speeding up. Normally the slowest knight in the deck. So maybe that's your wish coming in, or this, them trying to pull you back, that escalation in intensity. Maybe because your wish is nearing. 5 of Cups in reverse. Didn't we already get the Knight? Oh, so this is a page. Is that the page? Okay, 2 pages. So 2 knights, 2 pages. I read that wrong. They've got the little icons there at the bottom rather than labels. And this 5 of Cups has always given me keening, the Irish funerary practice, like keening in the public square, town square. Maybe a more silent frustration, grief that you're still having to deal with this person. Just like, when will it end? How do I get that necessary ending for you, for your wellness? And I wonder if it's, since these pages are in reverse, it's like a failure to pull you back. It's not that they're not trying, and I'm imagining like a horse chase where it's like persistently somebody's trying to lasso you, and that kind of makes it a little difficult to focus on what you're doing, maybe even focus on your horse and them signaling back to you. It's a constant irritant while you're trying to live your life, and just like, I need to get on to the next stage just for my own mental wellness to get away from this person, because it's so irritating. It's like, once a psychopath, someone of that ilk, has latched onto you, it takes years and years of effort. It can, to get away from that personality type. The post-separation abuse that people don't take seriously. So the next stage tests allies and enemies. So maybe that's more of the tower. Could be finding your bulldog to help loose you of your confines. Because this person just sounds really irritating. Thread the needle, sleep token, and read and nap. Thread the needle, interesting. It's like a narrow shot. Something pretty exact. And maybe that's like you found the exact right lawyer or whomever to help get you away from this person. Because usually the mentor is who helps move you along the hero's journey. But in this case, since they are maybe the major lesson in the anti-hero's journey cycle, then it'll be an ally in the next stage that you'll be finding to continue pulling that cart forward. And then we have the reading and napping, so self-care. I know my focus has been pretty bad, you know, with my own life stress and stuff, my own things going on. And one thing that helps me get back in the groove of reading or gaming or what have you is taking a more popcorn approach, at least at the beginning. So like a short story, like a H.P. Lovecraft or something, or I like Titanfall. It's like Call of Duty with giant robots, if you haven't played that. I think the servers are shut down for the first game, but the second game's still up. And, you know, just hop into a lobby, play however many rounds my brain will let me focus on, and then go do something else. Because otherwise, I get frustrated and I get deterred. And what I've noticed happens with me is if the situational environmental stress hasn't let up, then I have to be realistic about what I'm able to accomplish, because it's really not in the cards for me to extend my attention span all that far, because I don't have the environment that's permitting that to occur. And that can be pretty discouraging, because it seems so simple, like I just want to read, and you end up doom scrolling or kind of zoning out to TV or something. It's just high stress, and it's not your fault that the mentor or the environment is pulling you backwards and not letting you just live life like a person. It doesn't necessarily take away the feelings about it, though. So I feel like the awareness of that can help keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then we'll see what the tests, allies, and enemies stage have in store. So overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.